So hi everybody, Craig Hanson here and welcome to my video. Guys, Bryson DeChambeau, what this guy's done with his body and his swing is absolutely staggering. He's put on 40 pounds of muscle, but some of the swing changes that he's made over the last few months, he's really put some work in there. Much lower hands at address position, more orthodox and a bigger lag, and moving his head down and hitting it more with a bent right arm. Let's get in there and check out what he's done from the front view and from his back. So let's get in there and have a look at some of the moves that he's done. And this guy knows what's going on. He's no dummy, and he'll test just about everything, and he knows the golf swing as well. Let's have a look at wider stance, lower hands. We'll do a little bit of a comparison with his old swing here. And I won't get into the clubs and the type of grips and all the things that he uses, but as we know, that's quite unique as well. But what we're going to do here is look at width, and we're going to have a look at a huge turn. Like, that's 110 degrees. It's more than McIlroy. McIlroy gets around 105. I'm estimating that's around 110. That's a massive turn, and we can see that the head's moved down. Now, the head moves down, people, to 2 to 4 inches. That's the tour average. Right? A lot of people think they always come back up. They don't. Some continue to move down. It's because they're gripping the ground. They can hit it with a bent right arm. All right? Well, you can keep your angles. You can't shoot a cannon from a canoe. All right? So if you can move yourself downwards in the backswing or in the downswing, you'll increase your lag numbers. And this is what he does here. Have a look at this initial move here. All right? Now, a lot of people think he's going to injure himself. He won't, because it's not the type of swing that he has. All right? So we're going to have a look here. Head moves down. Left leg will gain a bit of flex there. And you can see that. We're seeing so many players doing that. Watch that right foot here. We'll see the weight like McIlroy heading out to the right side of the foot so they can explode off it. Subconscious move here. Gripping the ground and using it as leverage. Head moves down again. But the area here, what you'll see is this angle here is much, much bigger than it used to be. So much more lag. Now he sets his hands lower. You can obviously, speed comes from your hands and wrists, right? It's a lever. It's just the way it is, and he knows that. He's not silly, and that's why he's changed it around a little bit. We've got a much deeper angle as this club comes in compared to what it was, and that head has gone down an absolute mile, hasn't it, from its start position. We know around tour average is 12 degrees of shaft lean, but with the drive it's around 0 to 3. So you can see he's just hitting that one slightly on the way up and leaving the tee in the ground and getting a little less spin on it, and he's absolutely thrown the suitcase at it. At the moment, the finish position looking a little bit wild, but he's driving it really, really straight. Now let's get in there, right, and we'll compare this to some of the older swings. Now we know, what's his nickname? The scientist. He's in there using all sorts of biomechanics and working with some great coaches there, and looking at the range of motion and movement and all sorts of things, and he's got his flight scope and whatever else he's using. So it's great to see, working with evidence-based material, testing things and trying things to get an advantage over the field. And I'll go out there and I'll say this guy's going to win a lot of tournaments coming up. I said that with Jordan Spieth when he first arrived. This guy is going to win majors, and it's going to be the talk of golf for years to come. And I say that he won't injure himself coming up. World-class golf instruction has over 700 detailed videos for every golfer. Practice programs and evidence-based material is applied in helping you to become your own coach and play your best golf. Join us in the chat room and join the community of world-class golf instruction. Have a look at this swing on the right side. Obviously, you can see more of a narrow stance. Hands will be much taller, and when we get back to the top of the swing, still a big shoulder turn, but definitely not as powerful when we see the coil and the pivot and the movement moving downwards and gripping the ground. You can see that exploding downwards, and you can see this angle here as this shaft moves down. You're going to see a much wider swing. Okay, you can see here. Now that's what will lose a bit of speed for you, and at this point here, he's nowhere nearly as far downwards with his head. And of course, what he does actually now is actually moves slightly back up, and it's a much more wider swing. It's hit more on the way down. As you can see, that club head moving more downwards because now his head is well behind it and he's hitting it on the way up. And really a completely different golf swing. The thing that I like to see is what he's done is his setup's changed a lot from the back view here. Now we'll get that swing on the right side. We'll just pop him in with the new swing here, and you'll see that the change of the setup is quite dramatic. Now you can see the shaft playing down here 44 degrees. It's much lower. We can see this one up at 55 degrees, much higher, more in line with the forearms, and that is going to obviously change a lot. You can see that he's bent more forwards with the swing on the right side, and as he gets to the top of the swing here, we already know that the head moves down. This is crossing the line a little bit more than what he was doing. Now, a lot of people think when you cross the line, that's not the way to flatten out the plane, but it actually is easier to hit it more from the inside here. And you'll see that this shaft here coming in, you know, a little bit more shallow than this one on this side. And this is what happens a lot of the time when we shallow the club out, cross the line a little bit. And this is a great move here. Look at that bent right arm. We get the left arm parallel to the ground. We can see its touch of that lead knee. Great leg work, footwork. And that's really balanced, isn't it? He's just going to, look at that, flush that thing straight down the middle. Loving this golf swing. What I really do like to see with this swing is obviously the amount of how he's changed the depth of his shoulders. Now, if you've seen some of my videos before, you'll see that the shoulder plane is something that I often talk about. And now he's got his shoulder plane, you know, much deeper at the top. And you're looking at those deeper angles here, well into the 40-degree area now, and bigger numbers from that belt buckle into the shoulder into the belt buckle. And that's that 40-degree rule. We're looking at a tour average. This one here, obviously being a much more, look at the difference in the body, and a much more level shoulder plane. And he's spoken about recently that he's looked at Dustin Johnson and also Jordan Spieth in the way that he's calmed down his release somewhat, and that he wasn't rolling over the release as much as we can sort of see here, this face rolling over. So it was really causing some inconsistent tournaments for him, and he's slightly improved that. And you can see that now that he's also on the golf course holding shots up and hitting them more from left to right. But what an incredible motion and incredible golf swing, and it's just great to see this guy, some of the things that he's done with his action, and I think you're going to see this guy dominate and hit some huge drives. And we know he's a great player in his short game. He's improving all the time. Guys, there's Bryson DeChambeau. Check out World Class Golf Instruction, and if you're after online lessons, check out CraigHansonGolf.com. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.